She-Hulk has come and passed. The finale was last week, and it was pretty wild to say the least. And if you thought that was wild, you should see the reception. Not that one, but the one on Twitter. Who would have guessed, right? Another Marvel show with a split fan reaction. Some people praising it for its bold moves, and others scrutinizing it for the messy story and plot, which of the show, both are true. And well, I have the answer why. Those people are fucking crazy. That's why they're on Twitter. I mean, why else would you be? But essentially, people are extremely divided, with some saying that the show sucks ass because they hyper focus on one thing the show did that they didn't like, and others are way too forgiving because of something the show did that they deem awesome, or certain moments that they deem awesome. So that leads to a very skewed rating of the show. Again, what hits for one might not hit for another. For example, you miss out on a show others deem is ass, and you could miss out on potentially a banger that could have brought you something, whether it be a laugh, comfort, or inspiration. I'm not even trying to be too film bro-y here. I don't consider myself one at all, but that is the power of cinema. We're talking about TV, but the message still applies. Jen Walters, as we left off with her last time from the mid-season review, was dealing with something we've all gone through before: getting left on that motherfucking red. Not a good feeling. She then learns to love the Jen side of her, basically saying fuck it, I'm me. She 420 blazes it and dips from Abomination's little resort, a new woman, to go on in the next episode to meet Matt Murdock and Daredevil. Daredevil's return was the shit. Okay guys, did you see that man's agility? Did you see that hallway scene? Okay, I know it was cut short and I knew that was gonna happen, but it was still pretty fucking awesome. I love the blue, I love the Billy Club. Let's fucking get it. That suit, those color schemes shouldn't work in live action, but they do. The theme music, did you see how many people complained because Matt Murdock was quippier than normal after leaving season 3 intrinsically in a better place than he's ever been, while extrinsically in a place that's not sad ass Hell's Kitchen on another character's show, matching their energy for their show in a better place? You didn't. Lucky you. Then ending that episode with motherfucker Josh becoming America's Most Wanted for basically leaking Jen's nudes at the damn Lawyers Awards, okay? And her very reasonably getting angry and smashing, okay? That's what a Hulk does, but not in a good way. Leading to her getting put in A-Bomb's old cell until she gets out on parole, and very quickly, I might add, yada yada yada, they find out where Intelligentsia is and that Todd is the leader, yada yada, shit hits the fan, yada. The wildest fourth wall break in history happens, and Jen, unpleased with her ending, goes through the Disney Plus Studios, the actual physical place, to the She-Hulk writer's room, very much in the vein of her comics, as well as Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Like, that's all I thought about when I saw this scene, and tells them, you know, what the fuck are y'all doing to my show? Whose show is this? And they said that's the one that Kevin wrote, okay? Referring to the God King himself, Kevin Feige, who she discovers is a capped AI robot. Very wild, and the meta-ness just goes off the charts from here, okay? She's addressing all the complaints that people have about the MCU, like how formulaic some of the movies are, and how fucking expensive it is that she is She-Hulk, okay? She's foreshadowing a Hulk movie, and you gotta love the ask for the X-Men, okay? Hella respect right there, but she crafts her own ending rather than a spectacle, which seems to be the main complaint of everybody. Kinda appropriate for the series and for the character, in my opinion. And the show ends with Daredevil literally popping out of the sky, meeting Jen's family, and I do mean family, okay? Like legit, Bruce comes back and brings Scar with him. If only, you know, they remembered his hairline. RIP to the GOAT. And the post-credit is of Wong breaking Blonsky out of prison again to come chill at Carmitage, which I'm pretty sure, no doubt, will lead to Thunderbolts. So with that being the conclusion of the season, I gotta say, my criticisms mostly remain the same. I think the writing could definitely use some work, especially with some of the more important messaging they were trying to get across. I still don't think the B-plots were justified, even with it being a sitcom. I feel these episodes were short due to the CGI for She-Hulk being so expensive, and I honestly believe that hurt the show. I feel if each episode was an extra 10 to 15 minutes longer, those B-plots would have been more justified. We could have spent more time with Jen and more time emphasizing the overarching plot and her struggles. So that's that the ending could have hit that much harder. I think the ways they address trolls are very in line with the comics, but I think it's a little bit off base in my opinion. Like, they legit mention Jane Foster, but a lot of criticisms that they're levying against Jen feel more so directed towards Jane Foster's Thor. And that's coming from a dude who doesn't really hate that run. It had some legit beautiful moments, but the way Jane got her powers and some of the stuff she was able to do was questionable and brought about reasonable criticisms that for sure in some spaces were contorted and twisted. Base level, they made Thor a woman, they're going woke, they're gonna go broke, to the opposite end of the spectrum of Jane Foster in Jason Aaron's run doing some questionable things or saying questionable things in the world-renowned feature film Love and Thunder. And people are still standing by her and are rejecting the obvious corniness of some of the shit that she does because, you know, she is Jane Foster Thor. I think both ends of the spectrum aren't ever going anywhere. In a way, they're necessary, but in my opinion, unproductive. So when we cling to either end, there's no real truth to be told, and you can't really get a clear gauge of what kind of show this is or how it even is. And there's just a lot of wasted time. I feel like they spent way too much time addressing trolls instead of using their time more effectively in refining the writing so they could make a show that's undeniable. I think some of the finale kind of takes some of the weight away from some of the more impactful things from the season. I think they went a little too much the Waititi route and spent too much time addressing criticisms in a hyper direct meta way that you end up speaking to people who were never really there in the first place. You know, in the simplest of terms, for my simple ass, they relied too much on the meta man. And if history has taught us anything about the meta man, you can't really rely on him. Thumbnail name, check. Don't tell the small group of trolls and haters fuck you directly, okay? Make the show undeniable. Make the characters and story undeniable. And that's how you say fuck you. And the fans will love you even more for it. The thing is, there are parts of this show that I really do love. Like Tatiana Maslany does an amazing job being super charismatic as Jen, and she had her moments as She-Hulk. They do a great job at putting her through the ringer and especially setting her up for her ending by having her initially think she could control her anger and ignoring Bruce's teachings, and she couldn't. Seeing people reject Jen and to see her persist was fucking great. To see her accept her Jen side was fucking beautiful, okay? I love that shit. Like, I fuck with self-deprecation like a motherfucker. It can be hilarious at times, but fuck it on me energy all day, players. I think if we would have focused more on that, very similar to how the 2004 Dan Slott run was, the show would have been a lot better. I think WandaVision is probably the only show that really worked as a sitcom for obvious reasons, but it's commendable that they took the chances they did with this show. I do love how meta it got. It was a very ballsy move to do what they did with the finale, but I felt like they leaned a little too heavily on the meta-ness and it fell flat because of the execution in the end, as well as just not enough time spent building up to it. Like, since she erased the blood plot point, is she just going to sue for leaking nudes, or what happened with that? I also would have liked if they would have incorporated Titania better into the story. Like, she showed us up in the first episode and is sprinkled throughout the series, but it's like we know nothing about her really. Who knows? Maybe Intelligentsia has her nudes and she's trying to get them back, so when she sees Jen dealing with the same thing, she might reluctantly help her. Or maybe even it could have been that Intelligentsia commissioned Titania to attack Jen, but that could just be another excuse to attack her, and the real reason she hates Jen could be even deeper seated. I think that would have been really good to see. Bring some extra dimensions to these characters. I think an extra even 10 minutes an episode would have added to that conclusion. But with all that taken into consideration, I'm going to have to take a step back as well as a step forward by giving season 1 of She-Hulk a fluctuating 5 to 6.5 out of 10. Again, great moments, great interpretation of She-Hulk, honestly. They took a lot of risk, which is respectable, and gave us likable characters. That just needed more focused time, better writing. I really want to see Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk again, more than likely in whatever new Hulk movie comes, as well as Captain America 4. It's looking like we'll see some Hulk action. I think you put her in the right positions, especially in a movie, she will shine. But that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know your rating of the series, whether you liked it or not, whether you watched it or not. I know a lot of people who didn't watch it, and that's totally fine, guys. If you don't like a show or if you're just not feeling it, then don't watch it. Simple as that. This show is 100% not made for everyone, and that's fine. Do you in the end. That's it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all of you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one.